either full or not. And I think, you know, when I came to rallying at that time, the drivers were specialists. You know, manufacturers choose one driver for Sweden, one driver for Finland or gravel, and then a specialist on tarmac. I thought, why? If this is something wrong. I mean, if you are a good driver, you should be able to win everywhere.
If variety is the spice of life, then these two drivers know all about that. First, Hannu Mikkola.
Hannu started as a young man as being a typical Finnish guy who loved to have a drink and was a little bit unfit, and you know, a talent and fantastic driving was enough. But then times changed, and Hannu changed from that to a proper straight sportsman and a proper straight businessman and a very serious gentleman. His whole approach of running a team, preparing cars was very professional at its time. That was his strength. And of course a fantastic driver.
Hannu was the founder of the catchphrase Flying Finns, and his main talent was winning in whatever car he was given. He took his 18 wins with 5 different manufacturers. That's more variety than anyone else. He won his 1983 title with Audi, but in developing the all-new Quattro, he also notched up the record for the most retirements, 61.
Hannu always had a bad luck in these days with engines, turbochargers, electronics, whatever went wrong, not because of him, but the car was so brand new that somebody had to put it to the limit, and of course then it would break.
Another driver whose name is synonymous with versatility is Juha Kankkunen. He holds the record of most wins with different co-drivers. After his formative years with Fred Gallagher and Toyota, when Kankkunen moved to Peugeot, he joined up with Juha Pirinen, and the two would go on to take 14 wins and 2 championships together. But then in 1993, Pirinen suffered a stroke.
Before the rally, I went to the hospital, and she asked from me what you think. He said, "Hey, Juha, just go and win the rally. That is the best thing you can do at the moment." And that we went and we won it, and it was good.
The man sitting next to him at that time was Nicky Grist.
Nicky had a contract already to Finland, so he couldn't come with me. So Denny was already working in Toyota Team Europe at the time. So I took Denny with me, and we won also, so it worked very well actually.
Nicky Grist returned to Kankkunen for the following 2 years and helped him lift the 1993 championship crown. And when Grist moved on to pastures new with Colin McRae, Kankkunen partnered up with Juha Repo and kept on winning. 23 wins with 5 co-drivers, the most diversity of co-drivers ever. Markku Alén has the record for most stage wins, a whopping 796. And one of the reasons Markku was so successful was his 16-year relationship with the Lancia empire, the longest time a driver has ever stayed with one manufacturer.
Markku is as a character a very unfinished person. He is a little bit an Italian in his blood and in his way of feeling and thinking and behaving and responding, and therefore I'm sure he felt so well in that team, and the team felt so well with him. There was no need to change. He was fast all the time on any surface. He was clever. He made little mistakes, and he was part of their blood.
He won every single one of his 19 rallies with either Lancia or their Italian stablemate Fiat, and Lancia themselves are record breakers. With regards to championship successes, they are streets ahead of the competition. 10 manufacturers' championships, 3 with the revolutionary Lancia Stratos, 1 with the beast of a machine, the Lancia 037, and that impressive 6 in a row with the Lancia Delta.
The mechanics were really, it comes from the heart. It's like Ferrari example, that Italia wins if we win. It doesn't matter who drives it, but if we win, Italia wins. And then when it comes from the heart, they try their best. And I really enjoyed that 4 years I was in Lancia.
Resources didn't really matter. They had a big workshop which did not lack people, manpower, to prepare good cars, to have test teams before anyone thought about these kind of things. It was basically the complete commitment of the company to do it professionally.
Lancia are also the team with the most lockouts on the podium, a record 10 times they took the top 3 spots. They're also the only team to have won a top 5 sweep. Portugal 1990, when Mickey Biasion headed the Lancia stranglehold, with Didier Auriol, Juha Kankkunen, Dario Serrato and Portuguese driver Carlos Bica. whilst Lancia are the most successful team championship-wise, Ford took the record in 2010 for the most successful team win-wise. When Jari-Matti Latvala won New Zealand, he took Ford's 75th victory.
We're the most successful constructor in WRC today, and that is a really important statistic for us. It gives you that motivation to carry on in the sport and to keep going in the way we have been in terms of winning.
That win also saw them add to their highest number of WRC podium tally, taking them to the 270s. Their nearest challenger, Lancia, is back on 193. Ford have the most wins with different drivers, 17. Ari Vatanen, Carlos Sainz, Marcus Grönholm, to name just a few. They have the most wins on the same rally, 13 Rally Acropolis victories. From the late 70s wins with Bjorn Vordergaard through a 3-year domination with Colin McRae to the last with Mikko Hirvonen in 2009.
The way that you could win Greece Rally was a lot to do with your suspension, because I always felt, you know, if you can drive fast over the rough and you're not destroying your car, then you've got a real good chance to win on the difficult rallies like Greece, Cyprus, Argentina, Safari.
With that man, Sebastian Loeb, behind the wheel, it's no surprise that Citroën are also in the record books. They have the most drivers' titles, all 7, of course, won by Monsieur Loeb. And Citroën are also in the middle of their longest ever podium scoring streak, with a Citroën on at least one of the steps of the podium since Sebastian Loeb won Mexico in 2008. There have been many classic rally cars: the Mini, the Stratos, the Escort, the Quattro. At the top of the charts, though, for the most wins for a Markov car are the Lancia Delta and the Subaru Impreza, both tied on 46 wins each. The Lancia Delta's first win was in Monte Carlo 1986. 6 World Manufacturers Championships and 4 drivers' titles later, its final victory was the 1992 San Remo, Lancia's home soil. Also on 46 victories, another of the WRC's most iconic cars, the distinctive blue Subaru Impreza.
The Impreza, although it changed through evolutions, that basic recipe remained the same. So we were evolving always on something that we already knew well. And it is inherently not a bad place to start to build a rally car from. Once you find a good recipe and you go slowly, step forward, step forward, step forward, step forward, it's hard to beat. You know, revolution has its place every now and again. But once you're in the right ballpark, that process of evolution, once you've got momentum, is a good way to work.
The Impreza's 46 wins came over 15 years compared to the Delta's 6. And whilst the Delta took a total of 10 championships, the Impreza only won 3 manufacturers and 3 drivers' titles. Although one of the most distinctive-looking rally cars of its era, the Impreza was almost always competitive, but rarely as dominant as the Delta. Still to come in WRC Record Breakers, we get a little insight into the mind of the most prolific WRC record breaker of all time.
When I won 6 or 7 in a row, I say, okay, now I let one. So I'm sure I will not get in the same state of mind.
And we find out who were the youngest and oldest rally winners.
His problem wasn't going fast enough to win, it was going slow enough to win.
But before we go, one stat we hadn't included in the manufacturers section was that Citroën have the most wins in a season, 11, both in 2005 and 2008. All but one of those victories were with Sebastian Loeb. But can you name the driver of the remaining win? Find out the answer after the break. Before the break, we told you Citroën have the most wins in a season, 11, both in 2005 and 2008. All but one of those victories in 2005 were with Sebastian Loeb. But can you name the driver of the remaining win? The answer, Francois Duval, who scored his one and to date only victory in Australia 2005, when Sebastian Loeb did this. A rare mistake from the WRC's greatest driver. France 2010, and just metres from his childhood home in the Alsace region of France, Sébastien Loeb won his 60th rally, took his 7th consecutive championship, and helped Citroën to their 6th manufacturer's title in 8 years. And don't forget the man beside him, Daniel Elena, has been with him every step of the way. When you look at statistics, there is no doubt that Sébastien Loeb is the greatest record breaker the WRC has ever seen. He is an unquestionable talent, but what is it that impresses people the most?
Sébastien is one of the new generation of drivers who can be very fast everywhere. He's a clever driver. He's very consistent, very real. He makes mistakes. He has everything what is required in a modern rally driver to be the best driver, and that is why he's the best.
Traditionally, I always used to sort of say that if you looked at the fastest drivers, there was always a certain level of risk, that to win rallies and to win rallies regularly, you had to be prepared for the fact that, let's say, I'll make it up, 10% of the time you're going to overstep the mark and end up in a ditch. Sébastien manages to win rallies, and his failure rate is remarkably low. He seems to be able to go to the very limit without stepping over it more consistently than anybody else I've ever seen.
He's hungry to win and to keep up the same spirit to win and try to fight, and so, yeah, what can I say? That's the main thing. Of course, his results, it's incredible, so many wins.
His consistency, his winning consistency. You can be slow and consistent, that's very easy. But his winning consistency in every surface, in every corner of the world, and I don't think his records will be broken. He's just a brilliant guy and will remain in the top podium in the history of rallying.
From the outset, he was a record breaker. In 2001, he was the first ever Super 1600 World Champion, now named the Junior World Rally Championship. In the same year, in his first ever competitive outing in a full-spec WRC car, he narrowly missed out on his first win, just 11 seconds behind tarmac king Gilles Panizzi. And he continued to impress. He could have taken the Drivers' Championship in 2003, but on the final event of the year was asked to pull back and take no risks, ensuring Citroën took their first manufacturer's crown. Then Loeb really started to dominate and the records started to break. 2004 saw him become the first ever non-Scandinavian to win a snow rally. He continues to be the only one. In 2005, he took Timo Salinen's 20-year record for the most consecutive wins, 6 in total from New Zealand to Argentina, a feat he equalled 3 years later. In 2005, he won every stage of a rally, all 12 in Rally Corsica.
I didn't have to be on the limit to win and to win these stages, so it was no big risk until the end of the rally. It was my natural rhythm was faster than the other, so was not so difficult.
Now that is very funny record because it's not more difficult because just 12 stage. And every time when Sébastien starts a race and give all the time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stage with a scratch. And when you have one driver go one scratch, Sébastien is happy. Yes. Now the journalists don't stop with this question. You want to beat all the scratch? No, now it's finished.
Then you put an extra pressure for nothing. Sometimes now I do it in when I won 6 or 7 in a row, I say, okay, now I let one. So I'm sure I will not get in the same state of mind.
He took the title that year with a record-breaking 56-point margin over his nearest rival, breaking a 25-year-old record held by Walter Roll. In 2008, he took a record-breaking 11 victories, smashing Didier Auriol's 1992 previous record of 6. That is 73% of the wins in a year, by far the highest. For example, in 1996, Tommi Mäkinen took the championship, winning over 55% of the events that year. And both are an amazing contrast to Richard Burns, who won just 7% of the rallies in 2001 and still became champion. 2008 was also the year that Loeb broke Juha Kankkunen and Tommi Mäkinen's record of championship titles, taking his 5th record he continues to carry on breaking.
It has been an important point to do it because that's one of the records I which has an importance for me. But okay, then I began to think to the future, and I will count my records maybe when I will retire. At the moment I'm still in the game, so I try to continue and we'll see at the end.
When Sebastian breaks the record of Carlos, is 25 victory, and break 26, and Carlos is his teammate at this moment. That's his